All right, welcome. We're live. Two of the worst people in America, Tucker Carlson and Ted Cruz, spent nearly 2 hours arguing and trading insults on Tucker's show yesterday. Folks, it was remarkable. I'm calling this man-on-man spectacle America's Next Top Moron.
I'm saying the logic train has a massive hole in it.
There's actually two massive holes in this logic train, so let's get into it, all right? Predictably, we begin with some serious ass-kissing by Ted Cruz, something he's become quite good at during the Trump years.
You and I, we've known each other a long time. I would say we agree on about 80% of the things on Earth.
For sure.
And there are a lot of things on which you and I agree, not just a little bit, but violently.
Well, I totally agree. I was rooting for you in your last campaign, for sure.
Well, thank you. Look, you have been heroic on the border. Tucker, your nightly monologues are the single best thing on television. Like I watch them like an injection of crack. Okay, I'm mixing my metaphor because you don't inject crack, but you get what I'm saying.
Try.
Oh boy, Teddy sure starts out with his head up Tucker's bleach white ass, but it quickly takes a wrong turn, and these two spend literally the next hour and 50 minutes calling each other names and debating whether and why to drop a nuclear bomb on Iran. No, really. Watch where the conversation takes a turn about 10 minutes in, and it does not come back.
By the way, Tucker, it's a very weird thing. The obsession with Israel, when we're talking about foreign countries,
It's hardly an obsession.
you're not talking about Chinese, you're not talking about Japanese, you're not talking about the Brits, you're not talking about the French. The question, what about the Jews? What about the Jews?
Oh, I'm an anti-Semite now. Senator,
You're asking the questions, Tucker. You're asking, why are the Jews controlling our foreign policy?
Senator,
that's what you just asked.
Hardly saying that, and I have.
That is exactly what you just said.
Well, actually, I can speak for myself.
Now, if there is one thing that Tucker Carlson hates, Tucker Carlson, who has on repeated occasions expressed an admiration for Hitler and parrots the racist great replacement theory, if there is one thing that Tucker Carlson hates, it's being called an anti-Semite.
It's interesting you're trying to derail my questions by calling me an anti-Semite, which you are.
I did not.
Of course you are. And rather than be honorable enough to say it right to my face, you are in a sleazy feline way implying it, or just asking questions about the Jews.
Come on, Teddy. That was so unfair. Tucker's definitely not an anti-Semite or obsessed with Israel.
You said I was obsessed with Israel, and you had just told me that like your driving motive to get to the Senate was to defend Israel. I'm like, I don't think I'm the one who's obsessed with Israel.
Okay.
I don't even think about it.
Again, I watched this whole 2-hour catfight, and I think this conversation was supposed to be about Iran and whether the U.S. should join the Israeli war. But these guys literally spend well over 30 minutes arguing about Israel, but not in any coherent or productive way, in the way that two 12-year-olds might argue about foreign policy.
Those who bless Israel is what it says. It doesn't say the government of it, says the nation of Israel. So that's in the Bible. As a Christian, I believe that.
Where is that?
I can find it to you. I don't have the scripture off the tip of my. You pull out the phone and use the Google.
It's in Genesis. But so you're quoting a Bible phrase. You don't have context for it. And you don't know where in the Bible it is, but that's like your theology. I'm confused.
Now, you're not the only one confused, Tuck. Ted Cruz is so flummoxed in the midst of this interview that you have to wonder if he's ever seen Tucker's show before.
Try to be a little less condescending. I'm trying to have a conversation.
Condescending. You're throwing this stuff out, and it's my job to figure out what you're talking about. Okay, but I don't understand.
But you're not letting me.
Okay. I'm sorry. I want to be polite.
All right. There's more of these two sleazy felines clawing and scratching, but first, a word from Tucker's sponsors.
Picture the house of your dreams. Maybe it's got an outdoor pool, a huge front porch, an inviting fireplace for a cold winter's night. No matter what you prefer, there's little doubt that an American flag waving out front enhances the whole thing. What better way to welcome your guests than with a flag outside your home? But wait, there's a problem. The American flags you're likely to buy at some big stores were made in China. An American flag made in China? Come on. Pure Talk, America's wireless company, believes every American deserves an American flag that was made in America.
Folks, I have to say, I'm with Tucker on this one. What am I looking for in a wireless carrier? The same thing that everyone is. American flags made in goddamn America. All right, next up, they get closer to the actual war going on between Israel and Iran and the possibility of U.S. involvement, but not quite. If you thought the Israel digressions were bizarre and contentious, have you heard about the Iranian plot to kill Donald Trump? But first, let's hear how Washington, D.C. works directly from Ted Cruz.
I don't care. Whatever gets me the most money. I'll do whatever gets me the most money. And the lobbyist says, no. Pick a side. Doesn't matter what you pick. If you pick one side, we'll go shake down everyone who supports that side and they'll give you money. If you pick the other side, that's fine. We'll just go to the other side and shake down that. That's a little bit the way it works.
That was a rare moment of honesty and clarity from the Texas senator, but things get foggy again real quick, folks.
They're actively trying to murder Donald J. Trump.
Is there, okay, so you're aware of a plot to kill Trump?
Yes, that Iran is paying for. And by the way,
when?
It has been over the last, I'd say, 18 months to 2 years.
In the United States?
In the United States, yes. And let me point out.
Has anyone been arrested?
For the Trump attempted assassination, no. But
hold on, can we go back to Donald Trump because he's the president? No, it's a big deal. What do you mean? When no one has been arrested for these assassination attempts on Trump?
Yes.
They've hired hitmen. How do we know that?
You know what they say, don't bullshit a bullshitter. And folks, there is no bigger bullshitter on planet Earth than Tucker Carlson.
If there's evidence that Iran paid hitmen to kill Donald Trump and is currently doing that, where's that? Like, what are you even talking? I've never heard that before.
Okay.
Where's the evidence? Who are these people? Why haven't they been arrested? Why are we not at war with Iran?
That's a great question to ask.
Despite the insanity of his position and that arguing with Tucker is like banging your forehead against the table, Teddy is insistent that Iran has hired hitmen to murder Donald Trump. And it's literally driving Tucker Carlson to the brink of insanity. Although, to be fair, it's not a very far drive.
Okay, so why shouldn't the U.S. military defend its own president? I don't understand that.
Look, and it goes back to...
Because you don't really believe it's true, that's why.
Nobody disputes it, Tucker. Did we land on the moon? What other conspiracies do you not believe? Was 9/11 an inside job? I mean...
After, I shit you not, 10 plus minutes of this plot to kill Trump nonsense, Tucker brings it back to the point of the conversation. The fact that living in D.C. scares him.
You've been in the district a long time in D.C., so have I. And the city's way more dangerous, and Congress runs this city.
No, it's a complete crap hole.
So I'm saying, like, no Iranian's ever going to kill me, but I could get carjacked here. And I just don't understand how the Congress could run this city and focus on the dangers of Iran when the city is like garbage. Okay. It's garbage.
But Congress doesn't run the city. We could.
Congress does run the city. It's in the Constitution.
It's in the Constitution, but they've given home rule, so it's a Democrat mayor.
You can take it back. You control the Congress.
I'd vote for it.
90 minutes in, Tucker says what I've been thinking for the last 89 minutes.
And I'm sort of wondering, like, what is this? This is one of the weirdest conversations I've ever had.
I'll tell you what, and I'll answer any question you like, but let's try to...
Are you going to call me an anti-Semite again or no?
Let's try to ratchet down the temperature a little.
This is by far and away the weirdest conversation I've heard between two grown men who are allegedly well-educated and who, quote, agree violently on most things. Let me just hit you with some one-liners from the conversation, because these dudes both said some really weird shit.
The UK, which is a truly sinister place, in my opinion, as a ethnic Brit, I can say, I think that's my view. Maybe you disagree.
Also, in case you were wondering, there's no real context to that statement whatsoever. This next one from Cruz had some context, but no point.
When I first got here, McCain hated my guts, and he actually referred to me and Rand as wacko birds.
I remember.
I have up on the shelf, I have a baseball cap that a grassroots supporter gave me with a picture of Daffy Duck and labeled wacko birds, which I liked and laughed with.
And then there's Tucker describing to a T how he runs his show and then saying, I'm against that.
One of the ways you shut down debate is by calling people names like isolationists, pretending they're like pro-Nazi or something, or as you did, claiming I'm an anti-Semite. Right, that's not a way to get to a solution or have a rational conversation. That's a way to make people be quiet. And I'm against that.
And then Teddy continues the self-implicating circle jerk.
You engage in reckless rhetoric with no facts.
But at the end, these two absolute morons come together to kiss Trump's ass.
I love America is the truth. And I love Trump.
I emphatically agree with America first. And I agree with the president.
But it is Tucker's show, so he gets the final word.
Well, I appreciate your taking all this time.
Sure.
And I know you didn't mean it. But you called me those names. Thank you, Senator.
Folks, I hope these clips were as ridiculous and hilarious to watch as it was painful for me to sit through the entire goddamn interview. That's today's edition of America's Next Top Moron. I appreciate you tuning in. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Throw me a note in the comments. See you soon. I appreciate y'all.